Ladies and gentlemen, Roster Watch Nation, welcome back to the epic Roster Watch podcast brought to you by RosterWatch.com. I'm Alex Dunlap here with the Trashman and Cody Carpentier, as usual, here on the Roster Watch podcast feed and on YouTube and on X. Thanks to everybody for being here. If you could, please like the show, subscribe to the channel. We'd certainly appreciate that, as well as giving us a good review in Spotify, iTunes, letting us know what a dirtball you think the Trashman is. But just make sure and give us 5 stars while you're at it. Today we're going to be talking about 5
or how handsome you think the Trashman is.
Well, you can leave a review about how handsome the Trashman is. That's fine. 5 rookies you should be stashing in your Dynasty fantasy football leagues right now. It might be a little bit more than 5 because I have a few of these guys and I'm not sure what the rest of everybody has. But whenever Cody and Trashman and I were in the text last night talking about this, we said, let's talk about kind of taxi squad level dudes. So dudes that might not even go in the first 4 to 5 rounds of your traditional rookie drafts, but players that maybe if you have taxi squads that you could add on there as far as your developmental rosters, or, guys going super late. So with that being, so it takes some of the ones neither of you guys is going to have Tyrone Tracy Jr., right? And nothing like this, right? Trashman,
right.
Did
Trashman might, because he loves him some Eric Gray, so he might not have a clue who Tracy is even.
Yeah, but these kinds of players, you guys have heard us talk about them, right? Some of these later round guys.
Are you saying Tracy's too dirtball?
No. I think that he's kind of a maybe almost too mainstream.
Okay.
Yeah.
My first one might be too mainstream.
Okay, well, I'll go first, and the first guy that I'm going to, I can't believe that he's not getting more talk and more buzz right now, and that is Ryan Flournoy, out of Southeastern Missouri, who we saw at the Senior Bowl, and who he was a late call up at the Senior Bowl because Jordan Whittington from Texas at the very last minute, the 2 Texas guys, Jalen Ford and Jordan Whittington, both pulled out. And we had a late ad in Ryan Flournoy. And with Flournoy, I should probably, as usual, very prepared here. I don't even have his measurables pulled up. Stocky guy, though.
6'1", 200 pounds.
Yeah, good BMI. 6'1", 202, but big hands on him, 10 1/8 inch hands, good wingspan. Ran a 4.44 40-yard dash. So fast, good BMI. And I don't get it, guys, because he was drafted in the 6th round by the Dallas Cowboys, who didn't know that who we didn't know that they were, we thought for sure they're going to be addressing running back in the draft, and they don't. We're sure they're going to be addressing wide receiver in a big way in the draft, and this is kind of the only way that they did that. And if you look at the rest of the roster, the starting dude, I mean, am I wrong in saying that it looks like the starting three wide receiver set in a team that every available metric has sort of told us is going to be more pass heavy this season in the Cowboys, and a team that plays in a dome, and a team that should be in good offensive situations and good spots. Is it Jalen Tolbert is the wide receiver 3?
Yeah. They just cut Martavis Bryant, who literally, if you look at the depth chart, would have been probably the 5th best receiver as far as talent goes on the roster. They just cut him, so it's depleted.
Look, let me just look up the Cowboys here at the depth chart. I want to make sure I'm not overlooking anybody, but to me, it just seems so. Oh yeah, so it's like Kevontae Turbin and Jalen Brooks and stuff. They got Racey McMath from LSU that came over from Tennessee. Your boy Jalen Cropper from the Shrine Bowl. It's like, no, dude. I mean, Flournoy compared to these, big hands, go up and get it kind of guy, good physical catch point type of receiver. And I did not think he was going to run a 4.44. It's just he didn't look like that kind of athlete at the Senior Bowl, but he was this dude every day. I remember what's his Jason. We were sitting there with Jason from Player Profiler at the Senior Bowl, and every day we're like, man, Flournoy is good, and I haven't talked about him since. But we get into these drafts, and in some of the spots where I have taxi squads. So I'm like, well, why are we not talking about Flournoy as one of these late round flyers? Whenever people are talking, people are taking like Taj Washington and dudes like this. Why are we not interested in Ryan Flournoy?
I think it's interesting. I think Flournoy is very interesting because like there's some stuff that's coming out with OTAs right now about Jalen Tolbert, and he's like, my rookie year was kind of nuked because of injuries, and he lost confidence early, but he's going to be in a dogfight in the fall camp with Ryan Flournoy, and Flournoy was actually one of the biggest risers coming out of the Senior Bowl, like you mentioned. And when I interviewed him a little bit, he said, my hands are probably the best of the best, and I'm fairly comfortable with my speed that I can run past almost anyone. And like he talked about the tribulations of going JUCO, D2, FC.
He went to 3 different colleges, right?
And he's 24. I mean, he's 24 and a half years old. He's been at 3 different schools. He's gone through the gauntlet. But this is an opportunity that he's never had before. Like this is in this offense, it's going to throw the ball 600 times. You mentioned the depth chart already, and the number 2 receiver is Brandon Cooks. So we love Brandon Cooks, but he's still not young.
Yeah, I mean, would it be that crazy to would you would you trip over yourself and say, I just can't believe it? Is this real life? If Ryan Flournoy even overtook Brandon Cooks?
I don't see that happening.
I don't think it's the most likely outcome, but I mean, would your teeth fall out of your mouth and your eyes fall out? It wouldn't be the most crazy thing you've ever seen.
On like a hot take scale, that's like a 6.5. Like it's not burning. Like it's an understandable take.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like and Cooks will be gone soon.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a bet. And I hate to do it because I love Tolbert coming out. I thought physically, man, Tolbert looks like $1 million. And
he's an athletic specimen.
Yeah, if he turns it on, it could be trouble for Flournoy. But it's I mean, we've heard, Cody, from people behind the scenes that Jalen Tolbert just has a really, really hard time with the playbook. And so I mean, we'll see. It's kind of It's not only a bet on Flournoy, but it's also a little bit of a bet that, like, man, it's been very discouraging what we've seen so far out of Jalen Tolbert there in Dallas. So,
is there a chance? And before we get off this Dallas thing, is there a chance that potentially Dallas is? I don't think San Francisco would trade a guy like Ayuk to them, but do you think like a T. Higgins thing would potentially come down? I know that's what I'm saying is you'd have to like manipulate money a lot, which we've seen teams do. They don't have a lot of cap now. They have $65 million in cap next year, but if you manipulated some money, gave T. Higgins a long-term contract, like it just feels so naked in that wide receiver room. Like it's Flournoy and Tolbert literally as the 3. Like,
yeah, I mean, you have to take these things into consideration, but just look at who all Dallas has to pay, right? Yeah. Well, and then of course, Trashman just thinks that it's just fine just to get rid of Dak and just everything.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone.
I just don't get this whole thing. It's like, just throw Dak into the just throw him out like he's some kind of, like he's like throw him in the coal bin, like he's some kind of, small little bass that you don't think you're going to need to win the tournament. Like, are you kidding me? I don't understand it out of Trash, man. I think it's cockamamie.
You're not a Cowboys fan.
No, that's true. Yeah, well, exactly. I'm not poisoned with fandom. I can look at it objectively, and I've gotten to be more of a Cowboys fan, considering now that I have my wife is you know how she is.
I'm becoming less of a Cowboys fan. I'm starting to go back to my Houston roots.
I have two kids now that are Cowboys fans too, so it's like I have to kind of like them a little bit. But anyway, the whole Dak thing is a whole other conversation they can have on national sports radio. What do you guys, Cody?
I'll go running back here quick. I'm going to go to Baltimore.
Yes.
You
take Rasheen Ali away from Trash.
I'm going to Rasheen Ali. It's all right. We can share him. So Keaton Mitchell said, or they came out the other day, said Keaton Mitchell's not going to be ready for the season. We know Justice Hill's there. We all love Justice Hill and that speed.
What was the report on Keaton Mitchell? I must have missed. Like
he tore his ACL last year, and he's just not ready. He tore it in like week 15. He's just not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready until mid-season. So,
so they're saying that he's definitely going to open the season on pup, no matter what.
Like, I didn't see the word pup or anything like that, so I'm not going to put that out there. But that's pretty much what it's going to be.
That's what everybody's expected, but I just hadn't heard the reporting on it, so it was good to know.
So then Justice Hill is there as well, and we know how much they love him. And then they, of course, bring in Derrick Henry. But when you look at what Rasheen Ali did in college, man, he doesn't play like he's 200, 205, 206 pounds, but that's what he is. He's a 5th-round pick. He had 45 receptions as a sophomore, 28 as a senior, rushed for 1,400 yards as a sophomore. The athleticism, 4.48. I think what he does and he brings into this offense is not a Derrick Henry 2.0, but at least a guy that you could depend on in a pinch, in an opportunity if Derrick Henry goes down, misses a game or two. And then long-term, Henry's old. And if let's say Rasheen Ali sits there for a year and gets groomed, you're looking at a potential RB1 next year as far as opportunity goes in that backfield.
Trashman, you got anything else on Rasheen Ali, or do you want to talk about one of these others?
I'll talk about someone else. Well, is Jordan Travis too high?
No.
Oh, that's perfect. That's good.
Okay, then that's who I'm going to go to next. I mean, great weapons in New York behind a 40-something-year-old quarterback who is coming off an injury that, usually can sometimes end people's careers. I just think it's kind of the perfect position potentially for Travis if something were to happen to Aaron Rodgers again this season.
Let's tell people who are NFL fans that so Jordan Travis, quarterback, Florida State, got hurt. Florida State got swindled. Everybody was a crybaby about them not getting into the college football playoff, but it was because of him being hurt, right? Yada yada yada. He gets
very athletic quarterback.
When did he get drafted by the Jets?
I think it was the 5th round.
Was it the 5th round? Yeah, round 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis is good.
Jordan Travis is good. He's on what could be a great offense. He has all the weapons he could ask for at that position on a team that's improving. I just think, where you can get him and like his path to fantasy productivity. I mean, there are few quarterbacks, I think, in his position who you can get as late as you can get Travis.
And it's like, you hate to bring up I'm sure Matt Kelly would call this the Aaron Rodgers backup corollary, but that's been a pretty good little feeder system there as far as guys that kind of play underneath Aaron Rodgers and then get to move on their own. Most specifically, recently with say Jordan Love. So you can see a similar kind of deal out of him. My next one, I got another guy that probably hadn't been mentioned much on this podcast or on our broadcast from the Senior Bowl or Shrine Bowl or Combine or any of our travels and travails here at Roster Watch, but it's Jaray Jordan. I've been thinking about more and more from Louisville, and one of 2 guys drafted from Louisville this year. Louisville has had multiple. Did they have 2 this year?
Yeah, they had Isaac Garendo and Jaray Jordan.
That's right. Okay.
Running back Isaac Garendo. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So the running back Jaray Jordan. He comes from Louisville, and you can watch back. Gosh, I think it's the Notre Dame game. You can watch back and get. Let me see if I can pull up his. I think it's the Notre Dame game that I saw. Just the volume out of him. I'm like, man, this guy, he only weighs about 195 pounds, and not even particularly fast, right? 4, 5, 6 in the 40, but he was taken by the Houston Texans, and man, guys, I just think in the new Houston Texans offense, Dameon Pierce just doesn't fit. I don't think he fits. I don't know whether it's just. Do you remember him at the Senior Bowl, guys? Whenever he would just hit the line, he hits it so hard, and he busts them. We're like in these inside run drills, he's unstoppable because he hits the hole and he gets through there so fast. And all that. I'm not sure he's got the. I still think he could be really good somewhere, right? I mean, he's still a good running back objectively. I think. I'm not sure how much they like him, and there's been the stuff where Nick Caserio sort of asked the other day and saying he's going to play a big role this year, Dameon Pierce, and of course this is we're talking about things in the shadow of the big thing that happened at running back with Joe Mixon going to the Texans, right? But they're saying but they're like, well, what about DP? What about DP? Because even though he was a big year as a rookie, down year as a sophomore, the people around that facility, if you've been around Dameon Pierce, you know he's an energetic guy. He's a fun guy to be around. People around there really like him, just as a person, the reporters that cover the team, all that stuff. Like, it's like DP's always cracking up. And they're like, what about him? He's like, well, yeah, he's got a big role. The good thing, and what I noticed with Caserio is he said, well, the good thing about him right now, at least, is he came in and he looks like he's in great shape, which to me made me kind of, I kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit. I'm like, great shape. What
he's
exactly?
Not going to be a Texan. He's not going to be a Texan.
So you get the same kind of, that gives you a squirrely kind of spidey sense.
He's going to be on, look around the league, look around the Giants aren't really that deep. They have Tyrone Tracy, who we like, Eric Gray, who Trashman likes, Devin Singletary. He might follow Singletary there. The Vikings aren't generally, Aaron Jones is 30. Ty Chandler really hasn't proven much. Like, there's opportunities all around the league to go in there and do exactly what you said. Come in there with a great mindset, which we know Dameon Pierce has. Like, it wouldn't shock me if he was gone by the middle of camp.
Well, if that's the case, then Jaray Jordan would be owned in every league because he would be the number 2. I mean, the other guys on that team, what you're talking about, Dario Gumbawale is still bouncing around there. Devin Singletary's gone. I mean, these guys they have stink. He would be the number 2. And here's the inconvenient truth about Joe Mixon. He's not Joe Mixon anymore. The problem I'm having with Joe Mixon is, even though I know he's not Joe Mixon anymore, and I bang my head against the wall for any teams where I still rostered him in Dynasty, or if I'm stupid enough to play him in DFS in good matchups, is he stunk last he stunk last year just by watching him with the number of goal line opportunities that he would get. And he just, like, I don't know what it is, man. He doesn't run behind his pads anymore. He's one of these guys that if you talk to, I remember I talked to Grant Barfield from Fantasy Points on this podcast coming into last year, and he created this stat called yards created. And he was just pointing out, he's like, you look at his yards created, his ability to create on his own, Mixon through the course of his career, and it's been a free fall, right? It was fine for a couple of years, but then the yards created goes down through the roof, and then down through the basement. You have basements where you come from, right, Cody?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. We don't really have Trashman. Have you ever lived in a home down here in Texas that has a basement?
No.
Me either.
I used to, my room used to be in the basement. I used to sleep underground technically.
So you literally were one of these guys playing fantasy football down in the basement.
In my mom's basement. Yes.
In your mom's basement. Okay.
I spent a summer in Canada with my aunt and uncle, and they had a basement.
Trashman is also the only Texan that says aunt. But regardless, the trend line is down into Cody's bedroom back there at his mom's house, right? It's like it's down in the basement. So I think that Mixon's not as good anymore. But on the other side of that, on the Mixon side of the pros, that on the pros side of the ledger for Mixon, he's going to an offense. He's going to an offense now that. It wasn't like he was on an offense that was devoid of any scoring previously, but he's going to go to an offense where there will be scoring opportunities. He'll have more indoor kind of dome good situations like we like. So that's all good. If you're betting that Mixon isn't quite as good anymore, and you talk about the fact that Dameon Pierce might not be a fit in that system. I mean, Jaray Jordan, I think you could do a lot worse.
I still believe in Pierce, but.
Do you believe in Pierce in Houston?
Yeah. I just don't think him in Houston.
I mean, well, you were just talking about the dearth of options there in the backfield.
I understand.
And Mixon not being the player that he was. I think you give the ball to one of these guys
last year.
You get the ball to one of these guys at the 5. You're going to want it to be Pierce.
I will say this, we have heard the last 2 years, the combine specifically, these GMs, these coaches are just, we want multiple backs. We don't want to lean on one. So technically that does make sense on them keeping the depth. Cause as much as we respect Pierce, like we know he's a good depth piece, and Jaray Jordan is a rookie. So that technically that checks out. I like it.
Cody.
I'm gonna take a layup here. I'm gonna go to tight end. This is a guy we loved before coming in from the Big 12. Eight touchdowns last year, 500 receiving yards.
I think you're gonna take mine.
I'm going Jared Wiley from
there
Kansas
it
City.
is.
So it's easy because he's 6'6". The athleticism is there. He's a 4th round pick. And the problem I did not expect to see
that's the thing. That's the thing too,
was right
Chiefs.
now. The thing I did not expect to see, which I'm seeing a lot of in these rookie drafts, is people saying, "Yeah, but Noah Gray's there. Yeah, but Noah Gray's there. Yeah, but Noah Gray's 6'3", 240 pounds. And yes, he's been there. And yes, he's gotten 30, 35 targets the last couple of years in opportunities. He's also not as athletic as Jared Wiley. And there's this thing called contracts, and his contract is up at the end of the year. So the point of a taxi squad is to hold a guy. And if there's one tight end in this class that I'm stashing the hell out of and holding everywhere, it's Jared Wiley.
Trashman, he took my last one. If you don't believe me, you can see I have him written down right here. Jaray Jordan, Jared Wiley, Flournoy. You got anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I have Brendan Rice of the Chargers, round 7 pick. I mean, if nothing else, his pedigree makes him for a taxi squad guy that I like. I mean, Jerry Rice's son, I mean, arguably the best receiver in the history of the NFL, his progeny. When we think about the last player whose father was one of the best receivers, at least in the Arena League, and Antonio Brown's father, we got a player like Antonio Brown, who a lot of people didn't think would produce in the NFL the way that he has. Rice has a chip on his shoulder, definitely. You know, big guy, 6'2", 208, has something to prove in an offense where the wide receiver competition is largely unproven. I feel like there's a clear path if Rice is half the worker that his father was, for Rice to become a major cog in that offense.
He was awesome at the Senior Bowl. Cody, how did he fall to the 7th round?
I don't know. We still haven't heard. The one thing I did see after the draft was that Jerry's like, I will be in charge of your workouts from now on. We'll be getting you in shape. We'll be getting you ready. So I'm just like, done. All right. I'm still in on Brendan Rice. I don't know why he fell there. We talked about it on the Orangewood show this morning. Like, that was one of the touchdown things last year. I think he had 12 touchdowns on like 45 receptions. Caleb Williams actually brought that up at his own press conference at the Combine. This guy is, it was just dependable. I don't get it. He must have failed some interviews or something, but it makes no sense.
Yeah, man.
I mean, well, his father, I mean, his metrics, his testing going into the NFL wasn't great either.
Yeah.
Wasn't like Brendan Rice
did good
terribly. He didn't test terribly.
Jerry Rice. I mean, I wasn't terrible, but he came in as an average prospect.
So Trashman, you're basically telling us that we can stash the next Jerry Rice right now on our Dynasty taxi squad.
Maybe.
Hey, Byron's excited for that one.